Coming up on InfoSecSync, the White House brings together tech powerhouses to address the Log4j vulnerability crisis.
Also ahead, it's not enough that appliances can be unreliable, but an iOS vulnerability is causing major headaches.
And a TikTok competitor has become the target of scams and schemes. We've got those stories and more, so get ready to get in sync with InfoSecSync.
You're watching the InfoSecSync Weekly News with Nick Thomas and news anchor Leyla Gulen, sponsored by Axellio. Threat detection and response done right. Axellio. Also sponsored by Sirius Federal. Through high-level partnerships with the world's leading technology companies, Sirius Federal provides transformational technology solutions and services for the U.S. federal government. What's your mission?
Welcome to the InfoSecSync Weekly News for week ending January 14th, 2022. I am Leyla Gulen with your host, Nick Thomas. Nick, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Leyla. How are you?
Doing great. New year, New Year's resolutions. I'm all ready.
Do you have any?
I do, and that is probably to get outside more. I'm so tired of COVID and everything else. I want to go out and appreciate nature and my friends this year.
That's one of mine too, and to get more workouts in, get more healthier, eat healthier.
Yeah, six-pack. We're
six-pack, yes.
We'll get a six-pack by the end of this year. All right. Very good. Well, very busy in tech news. First of all, the White House is joining multiple government agencies in the U.S. and abroad to discuss ways to improve security for open-source software libraries. This is in response to the published advisory of vulnerabilities in the Apache Log4j software library. The summit brought together major tech companies to brainstorm a new collaboration to rapidly drive improvements. Amazon, Apache Software Foundation, Microsoft, and Apple were among those in attendance. Nick?
The joint advisory, which includes CISA and the FBI, have been working with entities in the public and private sectors to identify vulnerable products, raise awareness, and encourage all potentially affected organizations to take immediate action. Log4j is a flaw that lets internet-based attackers seize control of everything from industrial control systems to web servers and consumer electronics. Just this week, it was reported that attackers are wielding night sky ransomware to exploit vulnerabilities in the widely used Apache software. Leyla? So
how close or how far are we to getting this Log4j situation under control, Nick?
So, especially in the federal area, we have that under control. We've got it all patched. As far as civilians, I hope every company's been doing their due diligence and patching. So as long as that happens, we won't get more stories like this. But of course, there are some bad guys out there that are attacking this vulnerability if you're not patched. So if you're not patched, get patched.
Good advice.
We've got more to come. How Iranian threat actors are exploiting the Log4j vulnerability. Details after the break.
Innovation, technology, it's evolving at a rapid pace.
The growth of data in our space is outpacing the growth of humans.
And that's one of the challenges with technology. It never ends. The federal government is the most important customer in the world. Being able to help any agency, any MilDep, any part of the intelligence community means that you're having a direct impact on the safety, the future of this government and the individuals that live in this country. You're helping many people do a much larger job than yourself.
Researchers are also offering details on how suspected Iranian threat actor APT-35 used a PowerShell-based framework to attempt exploits of the Log4j vulnerability. Dubbed Charm Power, attackers made their first attempts to exploit Log4j just 4 days after the vulnerability was disclosed. Researchers said APT-35's attack setup appeared rushed. They say they used the basic open source tool for the exploitation and based their operations on previous infrastructure. This made the attack easier to detect. APT-35, also known as Charming Kitten, used a publicly available JNDI exploit kit that was published on GitHub, but had since been removed. Nick?
The FBI is putting various U.S. organizations on high alert to look out for malicious web USB devices. They say the Fin7 cybercrime group is sending out the thumb drives with the intent to infect systems with malware. Businesses in the transportation, insurance, and defense industries have reported receiving packages containing the devices in the mail since last August. One variation of the campaign imitates the Department of Health and Human Services and is sent with letters referencing COVID-19 guidelines. The group reportedly operates out of a Russian territory and was tied to a similar bad USB attack in 2020 that targeted hospitality providers. Leyla?
A thumb drive that is randomly sent to an entity just seems very suspicious. Are people becoming lax in their ability to detect something when it is really suspicious?
So low-hanging fruit, Leyla, that's what the attackers always go after. So they do things like, hey, have a free USB at conferences, or they'll leave them around in parking lots and, make it look like, hey, somebody left this there, let's see what's on it. But yes, that is a very good way for the attackers to get in. And yeah, people need to be more diligent about that.
Most definitely. Well, Office 365 and Gmail users are being targeted by threat actors who are creating accounts within the Adobe Cloud Suite and sending images and PDFs that appear legitimate. Attackers are sending out the malicious links to ultimately steal users' credentials. The attack vector creates a free account in Adobe Cloud, then creates an image or a PDF file that has a link embedded within it, which they share by email to an Office 365 or Gmail user. Though the links inside the documents sent to users are malicious, they themselves are not hosted within Adobe Cloud, but rather from another domain controlled by the attackers. Adobe Creative Cloud is a popular suite of apps for file sharing and creating, and includes widely used apps such as Photoshop and Acrobat. Well, time for a break. When we return, your iOS device on the fritz? We'll explain why. Don't go anywhere.
Are you concerned the next news headline on a security breach includes your company name? In a recent IBM cyber report, 51% of all interviewed organizations reported a significant business disruption during the past 2 years due to a cybersecurity incident, while organizations using 50-plus security tools rank themselves lower in their ability to detect and respond to an attack, with the average security operation team using 70 tools. If more tools and data are not the answer, what can you do? Axellio works with you to optimize a threat detection and response solution to fit your environment to prevent tool and data overload. We leverage and optimize your existing infrastructure enhanced with the Axellio platform as necessary, utilizing open source solutions where applicable. And we work closely with you to deploy, configure, document, and educate your team. Axellio, let's create the right security solution for your environment.
And welcome back. Turns out Apple's HomeKit app and iOS don't mix well. Well, sort of. A recent discovery shows that the app, which allows you to control smart appliances, will cause an iOS device to shut down. It's being dubbed the door lock vulnerability. Researchers say when the name of a HomeKit device is changed to a large string of characters, it will be disrupted even after rebooting. Restoring a device and signing back into the iCloud account linked to the HomeKit device will trigger the bug all over again. The endless reboots only affect iOS devices configured to offer quick access to HomeKit products via the control center. iOS users will have to voluntarily change their settings to defend against this vulnerability. Leyla?
Well, because of this report, Apple has finally addressed the issue by releasing an iOS security update. The iOS 15.2.1 patch is available for all supported iPhones and iPads and is described simply as a resource exhaustion issue that causes the device to hang when processing maliciously crafted HomeKit accessory names. Well, without the patch, the vulnerability could be exploited to launch ransomware type attacks on iPhones. Researchers say users could get locked out and prevented from logging back into their iCloud on iOS. Nick, is it really worth having some of these smart devices and smart appliances if you're going to have this kind of a problem?
So that's a good question, Leyla, right? Everyone wants things to be simple and be automated, but this is the headache you get with it, right? So You've got to do your due diligence and secure your items before hackers take it over. But again, it's a headache, right?
Whatever happened to the clapper?
That's pretty funny, but I'll tell you what, it's no laughing matter for Windows, Mac, and Linux machines. Researchers have reported a new multi-platform backdoor called SysJoker. Researchers first discovered the SysJoker malware during an active attack on a Linux-based web server, and they say both the Linux and Mac versions are fully undetected by VirusTotal. SysJoker reportedly masquerades as a system update and generates its command and control by decoding a string retrieved from a text file hosted on a Google Drive. Analysis shows the command and control changed 3 times, which indicated that there's an active attacker who's monitoring for infected machines and going after specific targets. Leyla?
Dozens of journalists and human rights defenders in El Salvador have had their cell phones repeatedly hacked. The sophisticated Pegasus spyware is linked to the Israeli firm NSO Group. The University of Toronto's Citizen Lab identified a Pegasus operator working almost exclusively in El Salvador in early 2020. NSO says it sells its spyware only to legitimate government law enforcement and intelligence agencies vetted by Israel's Defense Ministry for use against terrorists and criminals. NSO was blacklisted by the U.S. government last year, and people familiar with the group says NSO is trying to obtain the phone numbers that were tracked and will investigate to see if there was any misuse. Nick?
Pegasus tracking has been going on since 2015, when abuses of the spyware against journalists and human rights activists were discovered in Mexico and the Middle East. Dozens of cases have since been uncovered, including a dozen U.S. State Department employees in Uganda, British lawyers, and a Polish senator who led the opposition's 2019 parliamentary campaign. Also sued NSO in November, trying to stop its software from compromising its operating systems. Facebook sued the company in 2019, alleging that it was hacking its WhatsApp Messenger app. The infrastructure used to infect Pegasus victims are global. The command and control servers managing the surveillance in this latest case would not be expected to be local. Leyla?
Russian state-sponsored cyber operations still have the healthcare sector and others in its crosshairs. The FBI and CISA released a new joint alert warning all critical infrastructure entities of ongoing targeted cyber attacks. Successful exploits enable persistent, long-term access to victims' networks through the use of legitimate, stolen credentials, which often remain undetected by the enterprise. The group has also been observed targeting certain operational technology and industrial control system networks with destructive malware. The state-sponsored actors also commonly exploit known vulnerabilities, such as those found in certain FortiGate virtual private networks, Pulse Secure, and Microsoft Exchange, among others. Network defenders will also find guidance for detection, mitigation, and incident response. Nick?
When we come back, ransomware disrupting romance and shutting down prisons. We'll explain after the break.
We utilize technology in ways to transform opportunity for the country, for our citizens, and for the world. We're at the forefront of what we're able to do with some of these solutions when you talk about artificial intelligence and analytics and what we can do with data and how we utilize those solutions to make lives better for everybody. The future's bright and the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back. A ransomware attack locked down a New Mexico jail, knocking out security cameras and leaving inmates confined to their cells. Cyber attackers hacked into the computer system that controls servers and internet access at the prison. The jail was just one of several facilities affected by the cyber attack. A disruption in issuing marriage licenses, voter registration, and real estate transactions was also detected. Nick?
Ransomware is also to blame for a December cyber attack on Maryland's health department. Officials say the state has not paid a ransom and has activated its cyber insurance policy. Maryland's health department isolated and contained its systems within several hours of first detecting the incident, and the investigation so far has found no evidence of unauthorized access to or acquisition of state data. As a result of the containment approach, some services were rendered unavailable and some remain offline. Meanwhile, at least 2 proposed class action lawsuits have been filed in Florida against Altamont Springs in the wake of a cyber incident in November. Leyla?
The U.S. Cyber Command has officially tied the advanced persistent threat actor known as Muddy Water to Iranian intelligence. Also tracked as Mercury, Seed Worm, and Static Kitten, Muddy Water was initially detailed in 2017. The threat actor is known for conducting espionage campaigns focused on entities in the Middle East, but has targeted entities in Europe and North America as well. The hacking group employs various open source tools that allow it to maintain access to compromised networks, and administrators should assume they have been compromised if they identify multiple such tools in their environment. Officials believe Muddy Water is a subordinate element within the Iranian Ministry of Intelligence and Security, which is involved in both domestic surveillance operations and the targeting of anti-regime activists abroad. Nick?
The FCC has proposed update policies around telecom providers reporting of data breaches. The notice of proposed rulemaking seeks to strengthen rules for notifying customers affected by a data breach and federal law enforcement. Telecommunication carriers no longer have to wait 7 days before starting to notify customers of a breach, and telecom services providers are also required to notify those affected by inadvertent breaches. In addition, carriers would also be required to report data breaches not only to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the U.S. Secret Service. The proposed changes aim to better target cybersecurity threats and improve consumer protection, while also ensuring that federal authorities and the Commission itself are informed of incidents in a timely manner. Leyla?
Well, finally, those cute and funny, sometimes educational short videos you're now seeing in your YouTube feed, well, those have become the target of scammers. They're called YouTube Shorts, and scammers are taking full advantage of the recent start of this to run rackets like promoting adult dating websites, hustling diet pills, and selling marked up goods. Its competitor TikTok has already been subjected with great success. The most common fraud was using wildly popular videos from TikTok, primarily challenges featuring beautiful women, which serves links to adult dating sites running affiliate programs that pay for clicks. Another scam takes advantage of an affiliate program with a lucrative payment structure and to push a smoothie diet. Well, scammers could get up to $100 for every customer who ultimately bought into the program. Well, that's going to do it for us. On behalf of Nick and myself, thank you so much for watching. You're now in sync with InfoSecSync. We'll see you again next week.
Are your security event notifications impossible to prioritize and act upon? Axellio's Packet Express platform provides total packet visibility that works with your existing analysis applications to enable a comprehensive threat response. Capture any traffic reliably at 100 gigabits per second. Distribute directly from disk to any security application at over 100 gigabits per second to keep up with traffic spikes and growth. Pivot directly from an event into the relevant packets for insightful pre- and post-event analysis. Packet Express for informed decisions and rapid incident response. Axellio. Detect, disrupt, defend.
Technology is always moving forward, and one of the things that Sirius Federal does really well is understand how the technology pairs with what the business intent is for that customer. Cisco offers a really robust suite of products and solutions that really help move business intent forward, not just solve a singular problem.